Hello everyone, my name is John Bussart. I'm an HPE Business Transformation Center engineer for Ingram Micro. I help support servers, blade systems, storage, as well as networking technology solutions from HPE. In my videos, what I like to do is show you a slide from a popular PowerPoint and then demonstrate to you what that means within a management interface. Today, we're going to continue on our discussion with HPE's Nimble storage solution. We're going to talk about the simple but effective VMware-centric management within this solution. So this would be a vCenter plugin that gets installed within your VMware environment and allows administrators that are comfortable with vCenter to be able to manage their storage within this solution. You can get most of what you'd normally do in a day out operation within this management context. So with all that being said, let's explore this management interface. All right, this is the VMware environment that we're going to be using today. We can tell the plugin's installed, so I can see it over here, as well as over here, which is the same menu as what we see here. All right, so how did I get that plugin installed in this environment? Well, over here is our storage system. Again, we're using that AF40 that we've been using. If I go under administration, we'll see VMware integration. Again, that menu expanded out this way. All right, we can see the two VMware vCenter environments that I have integrated into this environment. Right, and if I needed to add another vCenter, what I would do is click down here, and I'd give it a name, the DNS name or IP address, a description if I wanted to, more importantly the username as well as the password, and finally which of the plugins I'd want to install. Again, this system that we're going to be working with today is going to be this vCenter system right here, and we can see that up here. And so if I want to edit that, you can see what I have populated for this. Now if I want to uninstall this plugin, I just uncheck these boxes and click save, and the plugin would get uninstalled. Now the volume I have presented, if I look under data storage, is going to be this volume right here. And if I look inside the vCenter environment, we'll see that volume under storage, and it's sitting right there. All right, so let's go look at the plugin and look at some of the features it gives us. So let's go down to HPE's Nimble Storage. We can see all the storage systems that I've presented in this environment. Again, we're going to select our AF40. We're going to dig into that. And we can see that volume that I was talking about right there. All right, so this volume is this volume right here. All right, and what can I do from this context? Well, I can edit this volume. And this would be the more advanced context for creating a volume or editing a volume. I could grow the volume in size, delete the volume, take a snapshot, clone the volume, or even mount an existing volume if I wanted to. Now if I click on this, notice it brings me over to the data store context. And there's that volume that we're working with right here. All right, and I could see some information over here. I can also look under monitor. You can see the plugins down here as well. I can look at connections. So certainly this is an iSCSI based storage solution. If I was doing a replication, access control, performance is interesting. We'll see a lot of the same performance metrics that we see within this Nimble storage solution itself. So latency, IOPS, as well as throughput is here. And then I could go under the configure context. And down here under Nimble Storage, we'll see snapshots. And this would be all the snapshots that are taken as part of the snapshot schedule. I can also manually take a snapshot if I wanted to. So this list here is the same list that we will see over here. All right, so let's do some things within this environment. Why don't we create a volume? So I'm going to go over to clusters. Another way to interact with the plugin is by right-clicking and going down to Nimble Actions. You can see here I could create a VMS data store, create a vVol data store, some digest commands, as well as mount an existing data store. So why don't we create a VMFS data store? And this will be the basic context for creating a data store. I'm going to click More Options, which will give us the more advanced. But first, why don't we populate some of this out? So we'll select the storage system that we want to use. Give our volume a name. You can see it's already selected our cluster here. What type of data protection I want, what type of snapshot schedule that is. We'll select our standard schedule, and maybe we'll make this guy 1 terabyte. And then what pool do we want to present this in? So we're going to use our default. All right, so let's click More Options. Again, we get to select the data stores or the storage systems. You can see the name. We could add a description. Again, we can see the cluster. Click Next. You can see the space that we're going to utilize. Is deduplication enabled? Is this thin or thickly provisioned? Again, the snapshot schedule that we've selected. We could also create a new volume collection or snapshot schedule if we wanted to. If we scroll down, we could see what our schedule exactly is. If we click Next, we can see any limits we want to place on this volume as far as throughput and IOPS. And then finally, we get a summary, and we can click Create. Right, so we can see our volume is being created down here. See a few things. You can see the data stores being created. We can see a rescan of HBA. Matter of fact, we're going to see a lot of things kind of scroll by that are common tasks that we have to do in order to present a volume inside a Nimble environment. So what are those tasks? So certainly you'd have to create the volume within the storage system, map it out to each of your ESX hosts within the environment. Then once in VMware or in vCenter, you go find one of your hosts, you do a rescan HBA, find that volume, and then format it for VMFS. And then you go across all your other ESX servers and do a rescan HBA. And you can see that that's kind of rolling through for us down here in an automated fashion. I go and look back inside my storage system. We'll look under data storage. We'll see our volume right here. And I can click on that. And again, we can see the volume collection over here. And again, it's 1 terabyte in size. And there's no snapshots that exist yet. All right, so it looks like this is completed. It has now, if I need to do something or manipulate this volume, we can look under data store. See our new volume here. I can right click, go down to Nimble Actions, and why don't we grow this data store out? So new size, maybe it'll make it 2 terabytes. Click Grow. Again, that process gets sent on through, and we can see that happening down here. So we're resizing the volume, and then we're going to rescan the HBAs to see that new size. So again, if we go over here, and maybe we'll refresh this context. We can see that now we have 2 terabytes instead of the 1 terabyte that we had presented originally. Again, if we go in there, we can see the 2 terabytes. All right. What other things can we do? We can take a snapshot. So I could take a snapshot here if I wanted to. I could take a snapshot down here if I wanted to. I could also take a snapshot over here as well. So we'll go into this storage system. So here's the volume. Right, so there's different ways that I could take a snapshot. Let's go back on over to our storage context. And why don't we do a snapshot here? So I'll click Snapshot, call it Ingram Micro Snap. We'll click Create, and it'll go through the process of actually creating the snapshot. Then of course, we go on the back end storage, look under data protection, and we'll see that snapshot exists as well. Other things we can do a clone of this volume if we felt like it. So if I right click, go down to Nimble Actions, and then we'll clone this data store. So we'll call it Ingram Micro Volume maybe. Maybe we'll make 2 clones. All right, we'll let it take a new snapshot instead of using the existing one. And we'll click Clone, and it'll go through the process of creating both of these volumes for us. And we can see that happen down here. Again, these are some of the common tasks that you do as far as deploying a new volume within a VMware environment, and this is doing it for us in an automated fashion. We can also see it's resignaturing the volume because, again, we clone the volume. So in a VMware environment, if you present a snapshot or a clone of a volume, it looks exactly the same. So VMware needs to write a new signature to that. So VMware identifies it as a separate volume. And we can see the first volume has already presented itself down here. If we go look inside our Nimble storage system, you can see that volume here. And it's going to go through and also create the secondary volume. And we can see that happening here right now. At this point, we probably see our secondary volume within the Nimble storage solution. So let's refresh this context. We can see our second volume here. And it's resignaturing over here as well. And there's our second volume showing up inside our VMware environment. So it's very simple to be able to create volumes and deploy them within the environment in a space-efficient fashion, because obviously this will use the deduplication technology within the environment, not duplicate the data. Right, we can delete these volumes by right-clicking, going down to Nimble Actions, and clicking Delete VMFS Volume. Now we could retain the volume or we could delete it. So what I'm going to do is just delete this guy. Click Close. I'm going to Nimble Actions from here, and what we can do is delete this volume, and this time we'll retain it. So we'll click Delete, and we'll click Close. So this way the volume will still retain on the Nimble storage solution. All right, so now we can see both these volumes have disappeared in the environment, inside the vCenter environment. If I go look within the storage solution, right, and we're going to do the refresh here, we'll see that just this one volume exists. And in order to get rid of this one, I'd either remount it and get rid of it, or I could just take it offline here. Right, and then delete it here. Right, so it's simple and easy to use management. If I want to, I can go back to this original volume, and now I could delete this guy as well. And this is going to give me a warning about the snapshot. So yeah, we want to stop protecting this guy. We're going to click Delete. Again, it's going to go through that process. So as you can see, I could do most of what a storage administrator would do within a vCenter environment by just interacting with the plugin that gets installed within vCenter. It allows for simple and easy to use management within a VMware environment. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and please stay tuned for more videos.